Actually, oh no, I get closer to rank 4 instead of rank 3. And this match, it's actually about quite a bit. We're playing or winning in for top 8 probably. Kikorek is usually on some kind of 3 to 4 color mid-rangey deck. Often Team Leovold or like just 4 color splash stuff. Kolaghan's Command, control decks or something. He usually innovates something random every week, and I think my hand is very solid in those matchups, but yeah, you can't really be sure what he's playing. Just random blue based value cards, and yeah, as I said, often Kolaghan's Command, control. I think he's the inventor of Checkpile or 4-color Leovold in Legacy, and he plays very similar decks in Vintage, even though they obviously are built differently because Vintage is different to Legacy. But the same kind of deck construction principles behind them. Pretty strong start though. No, they can't lead on any 1-drop. They would have to pay 1 for a Mox, and then I get to revoke their Mox and wasteland their land. Though chaining, oh wow. Well, never mind. They do get some significant mana acceleration here. Let's see what they can come up with it. That's an interesting Phyrexian Metamorph target though. Though my Phyrexian Metamorph is also pretty expensive. Wow. Well, then I wouldn't get to wasteland them if I go Revoker for 3 and Metamorph for 4, but that still seems pretty promising. Yeah, I think I'm going for that. Mox Jet is what we want. Yeah. That has to be better than making like another Ravager or something, I think. Because my hand is like, it supports casting a bunch of spells, but it is running out of steam now. So drawing extra cards seems amazing. And even many of my late game cards, like my expensive cards if you want, cost 0 for Dark Confident purposes, like Ballista and Hangerback Walker. Those are my top ends. So my average converted mana cost of the deck is actually super low. Like, I do have a bunch of 3-drops to go with the workshop, but like still a very cheap deck. I can afford to confident enough, though my opponent does a good job of fighting through the mana denial here. What did they reveal? Oh, the Mox Ruby that they cast, sure. Yeah, as I said, 0 drops that I can now cast for 7 mana. It seems pretty good. And then probably opening these up with the Ravager to fly over. And well, getting rid of a land doesn't even help that much, because they can then activate Deathrite, which they currently can't. Huh, interesting. Do I want to open up the Hangerback now to get more damage in? Because I do want to pressure them pretty hard. But if I open it up on my next turn, I get to tap it for the ability again and then get more Thopters. Though I guess I want to be attacking with the Thopters anyways. So trouble with the stream loading. Interesting. On my side, my OBS is claiming that I'm not dropping any frames, so it's either you or Twitch or something being bugged or something. Well, it's not my internet connection, my upload or anything, so it has to be either the Twitch server side of it or or your internet, which would be unfortunate, but there's not really much I can do about it, sadly. Okay, let's open this up, and then I'm not certain if I also want to sacrifice a Mox. I don't think so. Can sacrifice some of these Thopters even to get more damage in. But probably I just want as many buddies in the air as possible, and then I can potentially move Ravager counters onto them. If I just hit my opponent for like 6 here or something, put them to 13. No, then I don't have any flyers left. I guess I'll go for 2 damage. And just claim that they don't have great removal to deal with this type of situation where I have multiple Thopters. Because their removal is likely Lightning Bolts, Deck Fadens, something like that. Mystical Tutor, okay. And I assume you don't play Fiery Confluence or anything in your Dark Confident deck. That would be my opponent's best solution to the board currently. Though, if they do damage to small creatures, I can still move counters onto some target and make one big creature, and if they destroy multiple artifacts, then whatever sticks around afterwards is still going to be big. So even Fiery Confluence doesn't truly solve the situation. I decided to not waste on them because it enables the Deathrite Shaman, so I end up not really gaining much in terms of mana denial. And if they pass the turn with a single dual land open, then I can potentially wasteland them at end of turn, so they don't have the 1 mana available to pay for Force of Will. So then the Wasteland mana disruption would actually be more relevant than it currently is. Yep, another. Wait, no, our Ravager was first, even though it shows up in my hand in the opposite order. Sure. But yeah, pretty nice. They do need a counter here pretty badly. Wait, 2? What? Subtronic. Wait, it costs 1 more, so 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, I guess I can only 2 for 5. Sure. Somehow I thought I could do x equals 3, which I can't. But yeah, this is incredibly threatening now, because I can also move counters onto the Hangerback Walker and then sacrifice it afterwards, and then I get like a huge amount of Thopters out of it, so I dodge any kind of removal very well. Like if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 counters onto it, and I sacrifice it afterwards, and I make 12 Thopters or something. So they do need some kind of board vibe. And yeah, even like Toxic Deluge or Fiery Confluence, we are pretty well protected against with Ravagers. They have... what? They had Mystical Tutor in their hand. I guess they accidentally F2 through the end step and they were planning to. I guess Circle's Recall was their out to my situation. And they could have probably crushed me with Hercules. And I think my opponent forgot to cast Mystical. But if they have Hercules in their deck, they could have still Mysticaled on upkeep and cast it. No, then they're 1 mana short. But they still shouldn't have conceded it, because any untapped land allows them to cast it. So I assume that my opponent doesn't have Hercules Recall in his deck, and was planning to Mystical Tutor for something more expensive, but after not casting it end of turn, they were kind of locked out of the game. Okay, so Sky Sovereign seems pretty decent. And maybe even Dismember, so that I can keep Deathrite Shaman and Confident off of the board. And I'm not certain on Spyglass for Deathrite. And I think I want as much business in my deck as possible, as many creatures as possible, and just slightly cut down on the disruption. And Chalice on 1 actually doesn't seem that bad. Yeah, most of my disruption actually seems pretty decent. I'm not certain how to fit these in, though they do seem useful. Because I don't think I really want to be cutting Spheres. I can see cutting Chalice, but Chalice on 1 can sometimes be useful against like Mystical Tutor, Preordain, Lightning Bolt, Death Heart Shaman, all that stuff. Ancestral, of course, but yeah, not sure. These seem pretty great. Ballista is like a nice insurance against deck fade and also deals with Dark Confident. Metamorph can be pretty hit or miss, though Copying Confident is still pretty great. Okay, I'll cut one of them, so I don't end up with too many dead cards in my hand. And whenever they play Dark Confident, I would rather answer theirs than copy it. Though if I have no other option, then we could see that it works out for me if both of us have one, as was the case in game 1. Okay, hand looks pretty reasonable. Have some removal resistant creatures, some must kill threats, a little bit of disruption. Like, none of it is perfect, but it is a pretty decent mix of spells and lands. And the spells are pretty reasonable for the matchup. Demonic Tutor. It's pretty scary. I think I'll revoke the Damox still. Probably just Ancestor or something for turn 1. Unless they have some 2 KO card, like Mana Crypt into Energy Flux or whatever. Yeah, Ancestor seemed like the most logical thing to be searching for in the early game. And my opponent's deck doesn't really have any type of combo or something. They're just playing like fair cards and card advantage cards, and then like getting a draw 3 is just the best thing that they can really be doing. Nature's Claim, sure. I think I'll just put them to the test again and Inspector. Though now they have access to a ton of mana. For like Snapcaster, Nature's Claim, or like a Deck Fade or something. Okay, sure, they Force of Will. Then I'm pretty happy with my usage of the turn. Like theoretically I could run out Steel Overseer and strip mine them instead of what I did. But I'm still... yeah, that's disgusting. But I'm still equally as weak to the Force of Will. Wow, their draw is insane. Wow. Yeah, pretty dead here. Well, I guess I can still like draw Mishra's Workshop and cast these, and they don't have a great answer to Hangerbreaks. And then I grow them and they get out of control. That's theoretically the dream, but yeah, like Ancestral into Snapcaster Ancestral while dealing with 2 of my things for a total of 1 mana. It's pretty much the dream of my opponent's deck. That's what they're built to do. One efficient 1-for-1 answer, and then like Force of Will 1 thing, so that you're trading a 0 mana card for my entire turn, and that allows you to spend time on card drawing. Yeah, let's see what the best card is that they do have access to. I'm still not certain if they're just Sultai or have red in their deck once again, for like Kolaghan's Command and Deck Fade, which my opponent usually did. Okay, just Jace. Well, that's not a problem, right? I assume they already have an answer to this if they're willing to brainstorm. Sure. Yeah. Still fine with top decking workshop. Potentially go 2-drop into 2-drop or something. This kills the Snapcaster so that they don't have a blocker anymore, and then Mishra's Factory threatens to kill the Jace next turn, even if they do deal with my Ballista. Because I can activate it, make it into 3 power creature. So still doing a reasonable job of fighting for the board, but so much card advantage on my opponent's side of the board that they are likely to come up with more answers. At the very least, I get a good look at what their deck actually looks like. Targeting themselves with Jace Plus. That gets it out of range of being killed by the Mishra's Factory. They do have red, okay. Yeah, that's what I expected. Kind of like basically 4-color Leovold ported to Vintage. All the answers all the time, and then like just a very select group of win conditions that also offer card advantage. Snapcaster Mage, Jace, deck Fade and Cool against Command, something like that. Why would they attack? I think I'm fine shooting it down. Should be. I think they're just trying to bait 2 free damage out of me and then destroying the Ballista anyways. But... maybe I should have kept it? No. Like now they are free to destroy the Overseer because Mishra plus Ballista for 2 would have gotten 4 damage and then I ping the Jace. Okay, against Ancient Grudge. I think that was basically what I was expecting. That they wanted to get the free damage in because they were going to blow up Ballista anyways. Well, now they are not forced to blow up Ballista, that's the downside. So they get the freedom to tap out for this. Well, I'll throw in the towel against like Ancient Grudge in the graveyard. They can Jace flashback, whatever. Can like Vampiric Tutor for something, then Jace brainstorm into it. Chalice still seems good, especially if they do have like all these 1-mana tutors. So if they have like Mystical and Vampiric Tutor stuck in their hand, then the Chalice might even do more than it would against a normal blue deck that is more centered around like 2-mana interaction. Well, they do have a ton of 2-mana interaction, but their count of cantrips is a little bit higher because these tutors count as well. Cutting this seems alright. Like, they have Gracewind Prodigy, but copying it doesn't do anything for me, so... I guess it can loot forever, right? Okay, this hand looks pretty decent. Basically forces them to have a forcible, because otherwise they get super run over by Foundry Inspector into Soul Ring into Eternosphere. It's pretty much my dream start. Don't force, please. I mean, it's still a decent turn 2 after they forcible, but yeah, they would have been in trouble without a forcible. Damn it. God damn it, why? Why do you have to have forcible into Ancestral? Come on. It's no fun. And thought, oh my god. Oh my god. And they have the same mocks as me, which is pretty unfortunate, because now I can't like revoke her mocks and deny their mana without also denying myself some mana. Man, that was brutal. Yeah, I think I'm like favored against these types of matchups, usually, but like when they have a nut draw like this, it feels pretty bad. Okay, I think I will still just name the Mox Sapphire. Like, they will have to deal with my creature at some point, and if they don't, if both of us lose out on a little bit of mana, it feels fine. Because they have so much card advantage, I have to cut them off of casting spells. Yeah, exactly. Like now, Wasteland, they're UC, they're on 0 mana against my Sphere of Resistance. So what do I name though? Can name any of the Moxen, Deathrite Shaman. Lotus. Deathrite Shaman they can't even cast. Okay, I'll name Black Lotus, I think, because that gives them the highest chance of getting out of this lock. If they make one land drop and then cast a Lotus, and then suddenly they have access to 3 mana, which allows them to cast like Ancient Grudge Circles, recall, something of that sort. Okay, so race against them participating in the game again. If they get to cast their cards, I'm likely screwed. If they die to my random Goblin Pikers before then we win. Come on, 2 more draw steps, no land for opponent. Or just give me a Ballista or something. Come on. All I want to do is top 8, come on. I guess I shouldn't say that. As soon as I'm in top 8, I'm changing my mind and I want to win. But yeah, come on, no lands. Complain in the chat. I know my opponent is prone to be salty. Yes! Thorn of Amethyst is amazing. Because they can't really force of will it. If they force of will, then their fetch land becomes inactive, so... And that's the only way for them to interact with this. Yes! Nice one. Okay, so we should be locked for top 8 now. I'll update the stream title.